everyone, welcome back to Real Talk, where we break down real world problems with zero sugarcoating, no filters, no retakes, no cuts. And today we're talking about something that's a little bit heavy and a little deep, but still so real, and I think it's a question and a topic that's on a lot of people's minds right now. And luckily I have a special guest who I can talk to and relate with and have a great conversation with.
Hi, I'm Anya. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And today we're talking about, can you care about the world without losing hope? Because let's be honest, between climate change, school safeties, wars, natural calamities like aerial accidents, and life in general, sometimes caring about all of this at once feels like caring way too much. And I know that everyone, cares about the world. Everyone wants to know and feel like their general proximity, like where they're living, is fine and taken care of. And I just want to talk about, do you ever feel like caring about the world and just thinking about all the things to, take notice of is exhausting and too much? Like the more knowledge you get, the more information you acquire, just feels like heavier and everything's just getting a lot more weighed down on you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially in our generation, we're kind of expected to be aware of a lot of different topics happening in today's world. And, it's seen even in school when we're shown so many different videos about various topics and issues that we have to keep in mind and be aware of. And yeah, if you don't remember to kind of take a step back, it can get really, it can just become a huge mental stress.
Yeah, and I totally get that because I feel like sometimes we put another pressure amongst even school and family and real life problems. We put another pressure on ourselves about feeling like doing something because of the world's going on, like posting something, reposting something, and we just have this sense of helplessness. How do you deal with that sense of helplessness? Because obviously we don't have, or we think that we don't have a huge role in society as we are younger and Gen Z. How do you deal and cope with that helplessness?
I feel like sometimes it's important to educate yourself and then talk about it. So for me, what I like to do is if I'm seeing something that's upsetting me, I like to search up what are ways I can help and how you can make a difference being just one person in such a huge world, obviously. And then once you figure that out, just kind of communicate with people and talk to them and make sure that you're always expressing and letting out your feelings, because it kind of shares the weight and you can take a lot of that pressure off of yourself.
Yeah, I totally get that. And talking about posting and reposting and sharing influence, let's talk about social media. I feel like Gen Z is always 24/7 aware about everything that's going on because we're constantly up to date on everything as we're always on social media. Do you ever feel like our generation nowadays is a lot more anxious and a lot more conscious about the world and just stressed because we're aware of too much and we know everything because we're constantly up to date 24/7?
Yeah, no, I could totally understand that. We gain so much knowledge by being online for long periods of time. And sometimes you can kind of get the misconception that everything is on you.
Yeah.
And especially for problem solvers, it can feel overwhelming because there's so many things that it's just out of your hands. So I think it's so important to kind of understand the fact that not everything is in your hands. And again, just take a step back, take some time for yourself, and just help in the small ways you can, like signing petitions, reposting, and helping others stay educated, things like that.
Yeah, and I feel like those are all very good ways to stay rooted and grounded and still hoping to make a difference, because I feel like a lot of us think that it's not going to be enough. But let's say I know we're Gen Z, but even voting or anything, even the littlest things matter. Even if we don't think it's that big of a deal, I feel like everyone should still do something or benefit in a way. And I feel like another question is, what's something you've done or you've seen that actually gives you hope, or a specific topic or something you've seen on TV? What's something that gives you hope and rooted?
Yeah, well, I'm really happy to see that mental health is being talked about a lot lately, especially in schools. One thing that I've seen is, around AP exam time in schools, they usually bring in emotional support animals, so you have the chance to go during your lunch and play with dogs They'll give you goodie bags that have stress items in them. They push you towards kind of journaling and getting your feelings out. So I think all of these things are really helpful in kind of keeping your emotions in check and keeping yourself calm, especially in stressful times.
I totally agree, because mental health is probably, I feel like it's a ongoing, constant, not problem, but situation that everyone should be aware of, and it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly, I guess, because it affects every age category, not just Gen Z. It's just a general problem overall, and I feel like it's really important that more and more people are, being aware of this and taking stance to it. And talking about feeling stressful and stuff, what do you do when you feel low, or when you feel like when the world, there's so much going on? How do you, what do you do to cope with that and, still feel like not stressed? Or if you see something related to, something relating to you, or something that hits home for you, how do you still stay grounded and, uplift yourself in these hardships?
I think one of the most important things to do when you're feeling all the feelings is to just take a step back and take a second for yourself. What I personally do is I'll just put everything away, sit down with a book, or just play some music and give myself a second to feel whatever I need to feel, because it's important to know that everyone has and experiences emotions, and it's okay to not always feel upbeat all the time. But then afterwards, once I'm done, feeling low for a bit, in order to bring myself kind of out of that shell, just surround yourself with people who are positive and uplifting.
And I feel like the biggest thing to cope is sometimes just detach yourself from all the toxicity and all the information going on, just getting offline, because I feel like that's obviously our number one place where we get all the information, just getting offline and just being with people and living currently in the moment, because I feel like that's the best thing you can do for yourself. And talking about this is, I know a lot of people, I guess there's a lot of social, self-anxiety people that don't really post or don't really open up and talk about stuff. Do you ever feel like not talking about something or not posting about something tends for people to think that, oh, they don't care about it? Because I know a lot of people who talk to me about, hey, if I don't repost this, or if I don't share influence about this, do you think people will say that I don't care about it? Because I still do care about it. I just, how do you deal with that? Do you ever feel like people ever confuse not talking about something and not posting about something with not caring about it?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that a lot of people have the misconception that just because I'm not very verbal or open about something means that I don't care about it. But I also think that that's so untrue, because some people, everyone has a different way of expressing their emotions and expressing, the things they care about. So for me, I just always remind myself that I do what I can in the ways that I'm comfortable with, and it's okay, you can't please everybody, as long as you know that you're doing what's right for you, and as long as you're doing the right thing. It's whatever you're
so right, because I feel like everybody knows I say this, but protecting your peace is number one. No matter anything that's going on in the world, I feel like even if, I feel like we shouldn't judge other people on how they judge us, as long as you know that you're doing your best and you're doing whatever to, make sure you're good and you're, supporting what you believe in. I feel like that's what matters the most. And going off that, one last big question: what gives you hope right now? What gives you, the mental capacity to keep going, making sure everything's okay? What gives you hope?
One of the biggest things that gives me hope today is that our generation is really good about keeping themselves educated and aware. Just the fact that, every day I open social media to people, reposting important issues in today's world and climate, and just making sure that we stay educated and stay aware, because I believe that that's the number one way of making sure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past or repeat these mistakes in the future.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most realistic things said today. I feel like a lot of people, confused about caring and not caring too much, and if we're caring too little. But I think the best thing you can do is just believe in yourself, and I feel like everyone I feel like everyone should care, and even if it's caring too much, it's a lot better than not caring at all and not being aware of the situation. I feel like Gen Z is doing a really, really good job being aware because it gives them a motive to take a stance. Because if we're obviously looking at so much stuff going on, someone's gonna say something about it, and I feel like that's great. And I feel like hope isn't a chance of like reflectiveness or saying anger. It's like hope is relentless and it's courage, and I feel like everyone should talk about it. So if you've ever felt like you're not enough or what you do nobody's gonna see it, that's completely untrue, because anything and everything you do, people will see it, people will look at it, and somewhere it'll reach the right audience and it'll reach a state of power where people are going to take notice of it. So I feel like instead of not caring at all or just completely turning a blind eye to it, posting something or even learning about it or teaching about it, even if you're not doing something that other people can see it, but as long as you're self-aware, I feel like that's the best thing you can do. And I'm so glad you are on my show because I feel like you did a really, really good job explaining everything, and I feel like a lot of people relate to you. Thank you so much for listening, and again, although everyone is always, in their own bubble, the world is not gonna change the world is not gonna change right then and there. I feel like everyone should just cope and protect their peace. And thank you so much for listening. And once again, come back for more real talk where we talk about things and keep it real. Stay true, stay kind to yourself, and always, always protect your peace. Thank you so much.